Welcome back. So I'm still reading the narrative of Moses Ropa. It was my intention to try to get him home for the holidays, which is ending his narrative yesterday, but life got in the way. But here I am trying to keep my word. Where we are in the story is that Moses Ropa is working in a capacity where he's preparing other enslaved people to be sold. Let me jump in. On these days, I was generally very busy in handing out the different articles for inspection. I think he's talking about human beings, but I'll let it pass. And was employed in this way for several months, after which Mr. Louis left this place for Pendleton. But his health getting worse and fast approaching consumption, he determined to travel. I went with him over Georgia to the Indian Springs and from there to Columbus. Here he left me with Lawyer Kemp, a member of the State Assembly, to care for his horses and carriage till he came back from Cuba, where he went for the benefit of his health. I traveled around with Mr. Kemp, waiting until my master came back. I soon after heard that Mr. Louis, his master, had died at Apalachicola and had been buried at Tennessee Bluff. I was very much attached to the neighborhood of Pendleton and Greenville and feared from Mr. Louis' death I should not get back there. I wonder what was holding Moses's attention in that area. I could only surmise. As soon as this information arrived, Mr. Kemp put me, the carriage and horses, a gold watch, and cigars up to auction, on which I was much frightened, knowing there would be some very cruel masters at the sale, and fearing I should again be disappointed in my attempt to escape from bondage. Mr. Beveridge, a Scotsman from Apalachicola, bought me the horses and cigars. He was not a cruel master. He had been in America 18 years, and I believe I was the first slave he ever bought. Mr. Kemp had no right to sell me, which he did, before he had written to Mr. Lewis's brother. Let's get it together. As we say in Jamaica, thief from thief, God laugh. It's not surprising that Mr. Kemp sold Moses and the other articles of items that he deemed property as well, and stole the proceedings. Thief from thief. Shortly after Mr. Kemp having some altercation with General Woodfork, it ended in a duel in which Mr. W. was killed. A few weeks after, as Mr. Kemp was passing down a street, he was suddenly shot dead by Mr. Milton, a rival lawyer. Pausing here, it's such barbarity for these highbrow men. It's very disturbing. When I heard this, I considered it a visitation of God on Mr. Kemp for having sold me unjustly, as I did not belong to him. This was soon discovered by me, Mr. Lewis's brother, having called at Mackintosh Hotel, Columbus, to claim me, but which he could not effect. After this, I traveled with Mr. Beveridge through Georgia to the Warm Springs and then back to Columbus, going on to Mariana, his summer house in Florida. Here I met with better treatment than I had ever experienced before. We traveled on the whole summer. At the fall, Mr. Beveridge went to Apalachicola on business. Mr. Beveridge was contractor for the mail from Columbus to Apalachicola and owner of 3 steamboats, the Versailles, Andrew Jackson, and Van Buren. He made me steward on board the Versailles the whole winter. The river then got so low that the boats could not run. At this time, Mr. Beveridge went to Mount Vernon. On our way, we had to pass through the Indian Nation. How I wish he had said more about what that was like. We arrived at Columbus, where I was taken dangerously ill of a fever. After I got well, Mr. Beveridge returned to Mariana through the Indian Nation. Having gone about 12 miles, he was taken very ill. I took him out of the carriage to a brook and washed his hands and feet until he got better. Then I got him into the carriage again and drove off till we came to General Irving's, where he stopped several days on account of his health. I just want to pause because we've seen white men enact cruelty on Moses Ropa's body, but when he sees one sick, the tenderness that he shows. Moses Ropa is a beautiful man. While there, I observed on the floor of the kitchen several children, one about 3 months old, two without anybody to take care of her. I asked where her mother was. One about 3 months old without anybody to take care of her. I asked where her mother was and was told that Mrs. Irving, a woman, right, had given her a very hard task to do at washing in a brook about 1/4 of a mile distant. We heard after that, not being able to get it done, she had got some cords, tied them around her neck, and climbed up a tree, swung off, and hung herself. Being missed, persons were sent after her who observed several buzzards flying about a particular spot, to which they directed their steps and found the poor woman nearly eaten up. God have mercy. After this, we traveled several months without anything remarkable taking place. In the year 1834, and you know Moses Ropa is always proud when he knows the year, Mr. Beveridge, who is now residing in Apalachicola, a town in West Florida, became a bankrupt when all his property was sold, and I fell into the hands of a very cruel master, Mr. Register, a planter in the same state, of whom, knowing his savage character, I always had a dread. Previously to his purchasing me, he had frequently taunted me by saying, quote, "You have been a gentleman long enough, and whatever may be the consequences, I intend to buy you." You see, this malice is not about economics. It's about not wanting to see Black people well and free and thriving, to which I remarked that I would on no account live with him if I could help it. Nevertheless, intent upon his purpose, in the month of July 1834, he bought me, after which I was so exasperated that I care not whether I lived or died. In fact, whilst I was on my passage from Apalachicola, I procured a quart bottle of whiskey for the purpose of so intoxicating myself that I might be able either to plunge myself into the river or so enrage my master that he should dispatch with me forthwith. I was, however, by a kind providence, prevented from committing this horrid deed by an old slave on board, who, knowing my intention, secretly took the bottle from me, after which my hands were tied, and I was led into the town of Ochicia to a warehouse where my master was asked by the proprietor of the place the reason for his confining my hands, in answer to which Mr. Register said that he had purchased me. The proprietor, however, persuaded him to untie me, after which my master, being excessively drunk, asked for a cowhide, intending to flog me, from which the proprietor dissuaded him, saying that he had known me for some time, and he was sure that I did not require to be flogged. From this place we proceeded about midday on our way, he placing me on the bare back of a half-starved old horse, which he had purchased, and upon which sharp surface he kindly intended I should ride about 80 miles, the distance we were then from his home. In this unpleasant situation, I could not help reflecting upon the prospects before me, not forgetting that I had heard that my new master had been in the habit of stealing cattle and other property, and among other things a slave woman, and that I had said, as if afterwards turned out, in hearing of someone who communicated the saying to my master, that I had been accustomed to live with a gentleman and not with a rogue, and finding that he had been informed of this, I had the additional dread of a few hundred lashes for it on my arrival destination. So yeah, he knew that it would enrage this man that Moses is accustomed to refinement, but he, a white man, is accustomed to living a roguish life. I'm closer to getting Moses Roper home. Thank you so much for listening.